Hi, I'm Vinay Sudhikumar, the project manager for Glen Education Data Transformation Trial Project. Today, I'll be taking you through an introduction of the project plan, the project charter, stakeholder power map, an outline of the project, a status report which was submitted at week 4 of the project, how we managed a scope change, the project and business outcomes. A quick introduction. Glen Education maintains the records of its staff, equipment, students, and different programs. Currently, the records are maintained in the form of Excel worksheets, and this can have data losses, file corruption, and there is an extreme difficulty in the maintenance as well. The objective of this project is to implement a basic database in Microsoft Access to replace the Excel based system. Glen Education will make use of the new system for a period of 6 months and evaluate its feasibility. And if the feedbacks are positive, then it would extend the system across the entire organization. Let's move on to the project plan. We decided to go ahead with waterfall methodology for this project, and the decision was simple and straightforward. The objectives of the project are clearly known. The objectives are not expected to change during the course of the project, and the different steps involved in the project would be taken or completed in a sequential manner. We decided not to go ahead with the agile methodology because the project objective is not expected to change over time, and we do not require any iterative development. We decided not to go ahead with Prince2 methodology because this was a small scale project. Hence, waterfall methodology was identified as the best suited for this project. The project development strategy involves 6 different phases: the analysis phase, design phase, build phase, testing phase, implementation phase, and finally the closing phase. Moving to the project charter. The project charter is an effective tool which helps us capture the purpose, goal, what is in scope and what is out of scope of the project, the deliverables of the project, the risks that we anticipate, and an overall budget for the project. A detailed project charter is available in this Word document which is attached to the presentation. Here we see that the purpose of the project is essentially to improve the data quality, reduce the human efforts involved, and avoid the chance for data corruption and expand data analysis capability. The detailed project charter goes through the objectives, what is in scope for the project, and what is out of scope. It also talks about the key deliverable items, which include the stakeholder requirement document, physical data model document, sample KPI, test plan, test execution summary, UAT test plan, technical implementation plan, a user manual document, and so on. Further, we can see that the primary risk has been anticipated, and we have a table representing the probability of the risk, the impact of the risk. We can see a breakdown of the milestones. We can see an estimated budget, and at the end we can see additionally an RACA metrics as well. So the project charter clearly defines an outline of the project. Going back to the presentation, next is a stakeholder power map. This is a super effective tool which helps us identify the influence of the different stakeholders and thus decide on the right communication strategy to keep them motivated. The stakeholder power maps divides the stakeholders into 4 categories: the high power low interest group who needs to be kept satisfied, the high power high interest group who needs to be managed closely, the low power low interest group who needs to be monitored, the low power low interest group who needs to be kept informed. With the use of the stakeholder power map, we were able to categorize the stakeholders into a project team, which is a working group, project manager, business analyst, and database architect; the primary stakeholder, which includes the project team and the project sponsor; the secondary stakeholder, which includes the executive sponsor, test lead, support analyst, and training lead. The project team needs to be kept closely managed and highly motivated. They communicate through Teams meetings on a regular basis, once every week. On Mondays, they meet and decide on the tasks and priorities that will be dealt with in the week. They also discuss about the project progress and also the roadblocks, if any. The project team, along with the project sponsor, the primary stakeholders, also meet on a weekly basis on every Friday. Here they discuss about the progress of the project, the roadblocks, if any. Finally, the larger group meets at a less frequency, mostly once in 2 weeks, where they broadly talk about the progress made in the project and what are the next steps. The next element is the project outline. This gives us an idea about the project schedule, the different dependencies, and an idea about the budget as well. Let's go to a different document in order to see more in detail. So the project schedule basically splits the project milestones into achievable tasks, or WBS. Each task is assigned with a WBS number and to a person. It is associated to a phase. We can also see who is accountable, what is the status, what is the due date, what is the timeline, what are the dependencies for each tasks, what is the estimated hours and budget. This gives an idea about the budget and how much we are actually spending over there as well, the actual hours and the actual spending. A comparison between the actual spending and the estimated budget will give us an idea how we are performing in terms of budget, and a look at the timeline would give us an idea of how we are going with the schedule. An effective tool which can be made from the project schedule is the Gantt chart. Here we can see the different tasks and different stages of the project in a timeline. We can see up until what stage we have completed, are there any pending tasks as well, or how we are progressing. So we can see that at the current stage we have completed testing and we are in the technical implementation stage, and post the stage there is the handover and closure. So this gives us an idea of where we are at. We can also track the progress of the tasks as well. We can see that we have completed 72% of all the tasks and we are working on 27%, which is the remainder. We can also see the overall budget and the actual spending and the estimated hours as well. Let's go back to the presentation. Now let us take a look at the project status report, which was submitted at week 4. This report essentially looks at 3 key elements. Are we doing good with the schedule? Are we doing good with the budget? Are we doing good with the quality? And how are we working on the risks? The project health card gives us an indication that the project is doing healthy on all the categories. The project phases card and the key deliverable cards also gives us an idea that we are doing good. Overall, we have completed 72.7% of all the tasks in the project, and we are working on it and we are healthy. The key achievements during the period was completion of the 4 out of the 6 project phases and delivering the key deliverables as well. The activities planned for the coming weeks are working on the technical implementation plan and the user manual document. There was a scope change proposed by the sponsor, and this requires a decision to be made with respect to the support plan. Overall, we are doing good with the budget as well. Next, let us take a look at the risks and the issues as well. With the proposed scope change, there is an additional resource requirement, and this is currently a risk. There will be discussions with the different project managers to identify whether the resource will be available, and that is the risk mitigation plan. The issue is basically the scope change itself. The requirement is that we provide additional support of a database architect for a period of 8 weeks post the handover. There is some additional cost involved with this, but minimal impact on the project task. A resolution plan has been scoped out and will be decided upon as well. Taking a better look at the scope change, the proposed scope change is that sponsor wants additional technical support for a period of 8 weeks. We try to answer this question, answer the validity of the scope change by trying to answer the following questions. Does it add value? The answer is yes. The staff members at Glen Education would benefit from the additional technical support. Would the non-inclusion impact the deliverables or other projects? The answer is again yes. The sponsor would actually require a new project for training, and this could impact the planned project where the resources are already tagged for. Cost and time analysis. How do we do it? We identified that 3 hours is required from the database architect for this, and an additional cost is involved. The sponsor has agreed to pay that. The dependencies on the other tasks and teams, are there any? We see that there is no direct impact due to this particular change on the project tasks, but we do see that on the other projects where the our database architect will be working, there will be an impact due to the limited availability of the resource. We have discussed with the other project managers and come into an agreement where the database architect would not be overutilized. Are there any potential derailers that can be associated with the scope change? The answer is no, and hence we can say that this particular scope change is valid. Finally, we come to the end of the project. There are a list of activities that we need to do at the end of the project. This includes getting the sign-offs from the stakeholders on the deliverables. This is basically their approval, collecting any outstanding payment, releasing the resources from the project, and conducting a retrospective, recording and archiving all the reports and so on. But most importantly, we try to answer two basic questions. Was the project outcomes met? Was the business outcomes met? In this case, we can see that the transformation of the data recording system at Glen Education would be met with the project, and the business outcomes of improving data quality, reducing the human effort, and improving the data analysis capability would also be met with this project. So what happens to the project going forward? This would actually develop into a new product, as we had already mentioned at the very beginning. If the people and staff at Glen Education were to find the system useful, then we would be extending this to all the areas of the organization, and we'll also be working on data analysis capability building for the organization, wherein we can work and develop data analysis projects as well. That is the end of the presentation. Thank you.